All right. So let's jump into this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're looking at the smartest characters in Harry Potter
Okay.
based on um, this fan-generated list from the top10s.com. You know, these lists, they always,
They get people talking.
exactly, they spark debate
Yeah.
about who really should be on top
Mm-hmm.
in terms of, well, brains in this case.
I think it's really interesting because intelligence in Harry Potter, it's not just about,
Right. It's not just AOWLs.
yeah, it's not about OWLs. It's about how you think strategically, how creative you are, maybe even like emotional intelligence. I
Yeah.
think that's what makes these characters so interesting to follow.
And this list has some obvious choices up top, but there are some interesting surprises
Oh, yeah.
a little further down the list that might make you rethink a few things.
It's more about, I think, using the list to really think about what smart even means in this magical world.
Yeah. Okay, so at the very top, I don't think this will shock anyone.
No.
Albus Dumbledore. But it's not just about, I mean, he knows a lot of magic, but it's his understanding of people.
Right.
And he's playing, like, the long game. This is a guy who planned his own death.
I mean, think about that. He planned it in a way that, like, kept manipulating events even after he was gone. That's next level strategy. It's not just magic. It's like he understands people, how power works.
Yeah. It makes you think, was he always ahead, like 10 steps ahead? Or was he really good at changing his plans based on what other people did?
Yeah, was it all planned out, or was there some, like, improvising? I mean, we don't really know,
Right.
but that's part of what makes him so interesting to think about.
Okay, so number 2, Hermione Granger.
Makes sense.
She's, she gets praised for being so good at school.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, it's her ability to, like, think on her feet. Remember that logic puzzle
Oh, yeah.
Snape gave them to protect the Sorcerer's Stone?
Yeah, that was perfect for her.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just knowing about potions. It, like, understanding how Snape was setting it up, how he thinks.
Right.
And she did it all under pressure. You know, time running out, danger everywhere.
Right. It's like, is it just book smarts or is it, courage, that ability to stay calm when things are crazy?
Absolutely.
But speaking of Snape, he's number 3.
Interesting.
And I gotta admit, this one, I was a little surprised.
He's definitely a complex character, but when you really look closely,
Yeah.
you start to see how smart he really is. He was, like, a prodigy. Even as a kid, he got to Hogwarts knowing more spells than, like, older students.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was even, like, changing the textbooks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, basically rewriting how magic works because he thought he knew better.
And think about how he was a double agent, playing both sides for years.
Oh, yeah.
And no one knew. That takes a lot of,
It's cunning, right.
yeah, like a master of deception.
Yeah, very, very smart.
Most wizards wouldn't even be able to pull that off.
Absolutely. It's almost like, what's that word? Machiavellian, right? Yeah.
The way he handled things and his potion skills, you can't forget that.
Yeah, potions are hard.
It's super hard. You have to be so precise
Yeah.
and know everything about the ingredients and how they work together.
Right.
So Snape being so good at it, it tells you he's got a good analytical mind, able to process a lot of information.
But there's a part of me that thinks all that cleverness, the hiding,
Yeah.
was it a kind of weakness? Like he was always protecting himself, hiding who he really was.
Interesting. I mean, I think that's a whole other deep dive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does make you think, intelligence, is it a shield?
Yeah.
Is it a weapon? Like you can use it to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Outsmart your enemies, but also to control people to
Yeah.
get what you want.
You know what I love about these deep dives is we start with a simple list.
I know.
And suddenly we're talking about, like, what is intelligence even?
Yeah.
Good versus evil.
It's like every layer of the onion, there's something new and interesting.
Absolutely.
But before we get too deep, let's talk about Luna Lovegood.
Okay.
She kind of shakes things up on this list.
Yeah, she's number 4, and I bet some people are wondering, what? How?
Yeah, she's a little eccentric, right?
Definitely a little different.
Believes in crumplehorn snorkax.
We're raxperts.
Yeah, creatures that most people say aren't real.
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe, that's where her intelligence comes in.
Okay, I like this.
What if she's seeing things that other people don't?
Oh, interesting.
Like a reality that's hidden if you're too focused on logic.
So she's got a different perspective.
Yeah, and maybe intelligence isn't always about, rational straight line thinking.
Right. What if it's intuition, imagination, seeing connections that no one else sees? So her belief in the unseen, her, like, openness to things that seem strange. It could be, how do you say, cognitive flexibility?
Right.
Being open to ideas, even if they sound a little crazy at first.
Yeah, like she's got a different lens on the world,
Yeah.
and that lets her see patterns,
Yeah.
possibilities that we miss.
She's tuned into a different frequency. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and that might be her biggest strength.
I like that a lot.
And that brings us to, well, a character with a very different kind of intelligence. Lord Voldemort.
Okay.
He's the villain,
Right.
but you can't deny he's very intelligent.
You're very powerful, for sure.
He's often described as one of the most brilliant wizards of his time. And how he got so powerful, it shows you how cunning he is, how good he was at manipulating people. But here's the question I keep thinking about.
Okay.
Can you be truly intelligent without, compassion,
Oh, interesting.
without a moral compass? He was brilliant, no doubt, but his ambition, his ruthlessness, it brought him down in the end.
Yeah.
So does that mean his intelligence was, flawed?
Like incomplete.
Yeah.
That's a question that, well, philosophers have been trying to answer forever,
Right.
Can we separate intelligence from being a good person, from how we use our knowledge?
Right.
Voldemort's story, it seems like intelligence without empathy, without caring about the greater good.
Yeah.
It can become dangerous,
Yeah.
It can be really destructive. It's like a warning
Yeah.
telling us that being brilliant isn't enough. We need wisdom, compassion,
Right.
to use our intelligence for good.
So what does all this tell us about intelligence in, the wizarding world? It doesn't seem like it's just raw power or good grades. It's the choices we make, how we use what we know for good or for evil.
It really is a double-edged sword. It can create, it can destroy, it can enlighten, it can deceive. The real question is, what are we going to do with it?
And that's something for you to think about.
Yeah.
We started with a list, and now we're talking about the nature of intelligence itself.
I love it.
We'll be back in a bit to talk about some of the other fascinating minds on this list.
It's kind of funny how Voldemort and Luna, they both challenge how we think about intelligence,
Right.
but in totally opposite ways.
Totally, yeah. Luna embraces the weird stuff, and Voldemort, he, twists reality to get what he wants.
Exactly. Speaking of twisting reality, we gotta talk about Barty Crouch Jr.
Oh, yeah.
He pretended to be Mad-Eye Moody for a whole school year.
I know, it's crazy.
Fooled everyone, even the experts. That shows you how smart he was, but also how ruthless he was, Think about how much planning that took.
Oh, yeah.
He had to, learn all Moody's habits, his magic, even his personality.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
It is. It's like intelligence as a weapon,
Right.
To cause chaos and make people suspicious of each other.
And what's really creepy?
What's that?
He was a good teacher. Even the Aurors were impressed by his lessons.
I didn't think about that.
It makes you wonder, did he, enjoy manipulating everyone?
Yeah.
Using his knowledge to have power over them?
It's the dark side of, ambition, right?
Yeah.
He was brilliant, but all he wanted was power, revenge.
Yeah.
It consumed him. It's a good reminder that intelligence can be kind of seductive,
Right.
even addictive, and if you're not careful,
Yeah.
it can lead you down a bad path. That makes me think of Regulus Black.
Oh, yeah.
Morally ambiguous, for sure.
Yeah, he was a Death Eater.
Totally devoted.
But then he makes this huge sacrifice.
Yeah.
Defies Voldemort, risks his life to try to destroy a Horcrux.
His story's so powerful because it shows how knowledge can change you.
Right.
He grew up with dark magic. Voldemort's ideas were all he knew.
Yeah.
But then he learns the truth about the Horcruxes,
Yeah.
sees how evil Voldemort really is, and he changes.
He realizes he's on the wrong side.
Yeah, and his intelligence, plus his new sense of right and wrong, it gave him the courage to act,
Yeah.
to go against everything he'd been taught.
It shows that intelligence isn't set in stone.
Exactly.
It can change based on what you experience. Empathy,
Yeah.
understanding the world better.
Yeah.
And sometimes the smartest thing is to question what you believe,
Right.
even if it means going against everyone else.
Totally. It's about admitting when you're wrong, being humble, and changing your mind when you learn something new. And that brings us to Kingsley Shacklebolt.
Oh, yeah?
That's a great R.
Yeah.
But he also understood politics.
Yeah.
How to, navigate that world.
It's a tricky world.
It is. And it's no surprise he ended up as Minister of Magic.
He was never, the loudest guy in the room.
Right.
But he was always watching, thinking, making connections,
Yeah.
playing the long game, and it worked. Makes you think, maybe good leaders need a certain kind of intelligence.
A mix of wisdom, patience,
Yeah,
being able to see the whole picture, not just the little details.
right. Because intelligence isn't just about being brilliant by yourself.
Right. It's also teamwork, knowing how to work with other people to get things done. And a lot of the characters on this list, they show that in different ways.
Yeah, like the Marauders. James, Sirius, Remus, and Peter.
Ah, yes.
They were brilliant, mischievous.
And their friendship, it was their strength, but also kind of their downfall.
Yeah, they made the Marauders map.
Amazing piece of magic.
I know, they had to really understand Hogwarts,
And its secrets.
but they were also like a little arrogant,
Mm-hmm.
reckless, and that led to some bad things.
It shows that intelligence can be a blessing and a curse, right?
Yeah.
It can help you do amazing things,
Mhm.
but it can also make you blind to your own, your flaws.
Yeah, you don't see the consequences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so important to balance it with compassion, humility,
Right.
a sense of responsibility for how you use your gifts. And speaking of gifts,
Yeah.
let's talk about Ron Weasley.
Okay.
He doesn't always get credit for being smart.
No, not like Hermione.
Right, but he had this, like, street smarts,
Yep.
an intuition for strategy
Yeah.
that surprised even his friends. Think about how good he was at Wizard's Chess.
Oh, yeah.
That game takes, like, planning, thinking ahead,
Right.
seeing what your opponent's going
Sure.
to do.
And in the Battle of Hogwarts,
Oh, yeah.
he was the one who figured out how to destroy the Hufflepuff Cup.
With the basilisk fang.
It's like this flash of insight that even Hermione, with all her books, she didn't see it.
It shows that intelligence comes in different packages. And sometimes the people who think outside the box, they come up with the best solutions.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's important to have different ways of thinking.
Yeah.
If everyone approached things the same way, we'd miss out on those breakthroughs.
Yeah, those creative moments that can change everything. And that reminds me of Ginny Weasley.
Oh, Ginny, yeah.
I gets overshadowed a lot, by her brothers.
And Harry, of
But
course.
she's a powerful witch.
Absolutely. Great duelist, amazing at Quidditch,
Yeah.
and loyal to Dumbledore's army.
And she was brave.
So brave, standing up for what she believed in, even when it was dangerous.
And I think her strength, her resilience, that was a kind of intelligence, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It takes a lot of mental toughness to face those hard times,
Yeah.
overcome challenges, and
Yeah.
come out stronger on the other side.
And it reminds me of Neville Longbottom.
Oh, Neville.
Everyone thought he was clumsy, forgetful,
Mm-hmm.
but he had this hidden strength,
Yeah.
this quiet determination, and it turned into, like, real heroism.
He stood up to Voldemort in the final battle.
I know. And he destroyed that last Horcrux Nagini.
That took guts.
It shows that intelligence isn't always about, showing off how smart you are.
Right.
Sometimes it's quiet courage, not giving up when you're scared,
Mhm.
finding the strength to do what needs to be done.
And that's something we can all learn from.
Absolutely.
Intelligence isn't just what you know, it's how you use it, how you face challenges,
Right.
and how you choose to live your life.
This deep dive has really shown me how complex intelligence is in the wizarding world.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It's not just one thing. It's got many sides. It's always changing.
Yeah.
And I think that's why these characters feel so real, so human,
Right.
even though they live in this magical world. But before we finish,
Okay.
there's one more character I want to talk about.
Oh, who's that?
I think it's time we talk about Harry Potter himself. When you think smartest witch or wizard, Harry might not be the first one you think of.
Yeah.
But I think he's smarter than people give him credit for.
Okay.
He's not like Hermione with her nose, always in a book.
Right.
But he's got this, like, instinct for survival,
Yeah.
He can think on his feet when things get dangerous.
That's a good point. We always think intelligence is like good grades, but Harry,
Yeah.
he's got that emotional intelligence,
Right.
Connecting with people, building trust, getting them to follow him.
Yeah.
That's just as important, maybe even more important.
Yeah. In his world, for sure.
Yeah.
Think about how many times he went up against Voldemort.
Yeah.
All those close calls,
Yeah.
To go through all that and keep going, it takes a certain kind of mental strength,
He does.
resilience.
Yeah.
He wasn't just lucky. He was resourceful, adaptable.
Right.
He learned from his mistakes, and it made him stronger.
And don't forget his ability to love, to forgive.
Yeah.
Those are things Voldemort could never understand.
Mm.
And in the end, those were Harry's most powerful weapons. That empathy, that willingness to sacrifice himself for other people.
Right.
That's how he beat the darkness, brought peace to the wizarding world.
So when we talk about the smartest characters in Harry Potter,
Yeah.
I think we have to remember that intelligence comes in lots of different forms.
It really does.
It's not just knowledge or power. It's courage. It's compassion.
Yeah.
It's that ability to connect with people and inspire them to act.
I completely agree. This deep dive has been so great. We've gone deeper beyond the surface, beyond those simple ideas about who's smart and who's not.
Right.
And we see intelligence, how complicated it really is.
Yeah, and we've seen how it can be used for good or bad.
Right.
How it can be nurtured or corrupted. How it shows up in ways you might not expect.
Exactly. And I think that's the most important thing we've talked about.
Yeah.
Intelligence isn't just this thing you have or you don't.
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's always growing and changing.
And it's a journey we're all on in our own ways.
Absolutely.
So as you think about the characters we talked about today,
Yeah.
I want you to think about, your strengths, your weaknesses, your own kind of intelligence.
Yeah. How to use your mind.
Right. What are your gifts?
Yeah.
Your talents.
Your areas for growth.
Yeah. And how could you use your intelligence to make the world a better place?
Those are good questions to think about.
Yeah.
And I think Harry Potter, it gives us a great way to explore those ideas.
It reminds us that even in a world with magic and all that, is the human mind, with all its complexities and differences, that really shapes what happens to us.
Yeah.
So as you keep learning and discovering new things, remember, there's no one right way to be intelligent.
Right.
Embrace your strengths.
Yeah.
Challenge what you think you know.
Yeah.
And never stop learning.
Absolutely.
You might surprise yourself with what you can do.
That's the best part. You never know what you're truly capable of.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks for joining us on this intellectual adventure.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep those minds of yours sharp.